Just when the unrepentant rogue royals, once mockingly dubbed the petulant princelings, by palace insiders, appeared poised to ruthlessly commercialize their epic American self-exile into perpetuity, the entire delirious Duke and Duchess of Sussex vanity project may have finally started to crumble under the weight of its inexhaustible hubris. According to high-level sources, the UK's famed intelligence service MI6 has now been quietly marshaled to comprehensively investigate all business and personal conduct of Harry and Meghan as an escalating, grave Wex-level threat, directly jeopardizing national security. The decision comes on the heels of palace insiders' simmering outrage over the disgraced California royal rebel's latest money-grubbing violations of the Crown's trust, rampantly hawking sensational, uncorroborated gossip alleging improprieties against the very family members demonstrating saintly patience towards their petulance. Matters reached an abject nadir when those repugnant Silicon Valley huckster rapscallions started airing their dirty linen about even the sovereign's noble name supposedly being disparaged, sneered one Noble Protection Command supervisor, refusing to mince words. That's a point of no-return escalation that simply cannot be borne. The Crown's pledge to protect and preserve both writ and spirit of our national dignity must be resolute at any cost. Indeed, after spending nearly 2 years attempting to placate Harry and Meghan's cringe-worthy pity ploys, insatiable tell-all memoir advances and bottomless content grifting from various US-based media giants like Netflix, Oprah's Own and Spotify, the royals appear to have officially reached their breaking point. According to those closest to the family's inner sanctum, Buckingham Palace has gone, studs up, circling all available resources towards identifying, prosecuting and neutralizing any and all bad actors colluding around what they now deem a calculated, sedition play, against the sovereign. Truthfully, we've afforded those ungrateful wretches more leeway than could possibly be expected from any code of familial dignity or decency. But as the petty grievance-mongering became overtly monetized in outrageous billion-dollar deals aimed at smearing all the Crown stands for, most egregiously accusing our 96-year-old Queen's own sainted name of bigotry, enough exceeds enough to warrant our peerless response, the grim-faced senior royal enforcer simmered. They quite simply crossed the Rubicon with that little Netflix hate pitch about perpetuating falsehoods and our family supposedly owing them some imaginary truth. Vile taunts like that shan't be indulged. Whatever blood oaths binding them to our code of sovereign honor have failed, our family remains duty-bound to deploy appropriately forceful countermeasures against their spreading cancer of insult and calumny. All the king's horses and all the king's men have reacted commensurately. That's all that need be said on the matter. Consider the protective House of Windsor equal to the test. Indeed, despite the seemingly boundless reserves of forgiveness displayed towards the entitled Hollywood expatriate aristos even while weathering their relentlessly eye-rolling sniping and backhanded bullying accusations, troubling signs had been mounting for over a year that the Windsors had been pushed past their long-strained breaking point. While polite public faces were rigidly upheld, inside the palace walls, whispers intensified of unspeakable mortification over the Duke and Duchess almost daily aired affronts against the royal name, none more galling than their inflammatory, debunked Oprah Winfrey interview claims. From the Duchess of Sussex's polarizing, veiled potato, remarks alleging unspecified royal racism against her unborn child, to her husband's revisionist history scorn labeling his own loving family, trapped, prisoners, all compounded by their alleged behind-the-scenes briefing wars leaking privileged details of internal security and protocol arrangements. The gauntlet of purported betrayals grew increasingly untenable to behold by any reasonable definition of decent public conduct or basic gratitude. Need I remind these petulant wastrels that the sovereign has already granted them everything from the grandest castle weddings to accommodating all their preposterous personal tantrums with inexhaustible grace and kindnesses? Demanded the palace courtier, fist clenched in pious indignation. Their debts of loyalty to the crown and obligations keeping its hallowed values and secrets sacred cannot now be more thoroughly and disrespectfully disregarded without permanent cause for severance. While the Sussex drama undoubtedly contained all lurid trappings of a modern celebrity circus, the royals insist any familial indiscretions were vastly eclipsed once their non-stop antics blossomed into flagrant national security threats. MI6's formidable Special Operations Directorate had already reportedly fielded troubling dossiers exposing extensive foreign dealings by the California renegades ranging from ill-advised hush money payments to undisclosed high-level consulting arrangements, potentially violating severe conflict of interest protocols and risking delicate high-level Crown intel sources. Let's be blunt, Once its confirmed hired representatives are actively soliciting uncorroborated hearsay alleging sovereign prejudice in exchange for payouts from overseas principals with nefarious agendas actively working against British interests, well, that's an across-the-board meltdown we cannot afford whatsoever, explained the counterintelligence handler now taking charge of the MI6 probe, expanding far beyond its traditional jurisdictions to actively combat the brazen Montecito plot. Unspooling against the crown. Time was we hoped their tantrums might eventually self-correct before any damage outstripped the family's abilities to compartmentalize. But the second grifting around claims of racism began funneling currency directly into the coffers of external forces undercutting the kingdom's stability, any more indulgence officially exceeded acceptable limits. And while MI6 isn't candidly confirming any involvement in the current multi-agency national security probe aimed at neutralizing the Sussex threat, all signs point towards the service deploying its vaunted increment intelligence-gathering infrastructure along with personnel assets embedded within the U.S. intelligence community. Military cyber warfare specialists from the Royal Signals Corps are rumored engaged as well. And perhaps most critically, Queen's Counsellor members trained in martial law could soon be activated to mitigate ongoing constitutional perils associated with direct defiance of the monarchy from both inside and outside the realm. Just to be crystal, this is nothing so trivial as a mere royal rift any longer. The matter has now escalated into a hybrid cyber warfare campaign by way of unpatriotic security leaks and profiteering propaganda, abetted by disenchanted ex-courtiers cashing in on selling out secrets to hostile actors, the nameless enforcement head strategist intoned gravely. Our allies worldwide have been briefed to expect zero tolerance moving ahead. So with investigators ratcheting up undisclosed clandestine interventions against Harry and Meghan's global movements and business partnerships, whispers have already begun swirling about the possible need for them to account for numerous reported violations of the Official Secrets Act. After stealthily tracing various lucrative media-related financial transactions and incriminating security dump files allegedly arranged by the couple's closest advisors and friends, MI6 is said to be contemplating how best to compel their return to sovereign UK soil if necessary for processing by civil authorities. Let this be a sobering pledge. For any renegades accused of materially profiting from disclosure of Crown-privileged information detrimental to national security, there shall be no velvet-gloved recourses available, the security strategist vowed with steely resolve. They'll face fully marshaled resources of the Crown's unlimited justice capabilities. We're prepared to pursue far sterner recourses as needed to extinguish this subversive conflagration before it metastasizes. In addition to MI6 unspecified counterintelligence operations and surveillance tactics now monitoring the Sussexes' every move, the Windsor's legal team has reportedly begun gaming out more draconian scenarios for potential rendition and repatriation from U.S. soil should evidence mount confirming their conduct as irrevocably shattering bonds of trust with the sovereign. While an extreme Interpol red notice still remains an unlikely outcome barring unambiguous proof of purposeful treason, the prospect of invoking other extradition mechanisms cannot yet be discounted given the stakes. Rest assured, the